Good afternoon, everyone. I am Monica Mensah, the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs. It's a pleasure to virtually see all of you. So I'll keep it short and sweet. I'll have maybe about a 5 to 10 minute spiel, and then I'll leave it open for questions because I'm sure you all have questions. So just a general overview of student affairs. It's pretty much all things students with the exception of career. So we handle orientation, graduation, all of the student events, grades, registration, financial aid, student accommodations, advising, academic success, bar prep, literally everything student driven is pretty much funneled through the Office of Student Affairs. And so we're kind of your hub. If you ever have a question about what's going on, what should I do, we're a great place to start. And if we don't have the answer, we certainly know where to send you to get the correct answer. So that's just a very, very brief overview of student affairs. And the next point, my final point that I wanted to get to is just to address the two main questions that I get from admitted students during this, what lull period, the lapse time before you start law school. So the first question I get is, what should I be doing during this time? And my response is probably, I don't want to say controversial, but it's I guess a bit startling when students hear my response, and which is do nothing. And the reason I say that is because law school is very much like a training mental boot camp, in the sense that it is unlike anything you have ever done before in your life. I've had people start in law school who were astronauts, who had a PhD and an MBA and a doctorate in something that, like, they've had all sorts of degrees, and they've come to law school and said, oh my gosh, this is unlike anything I've ever done before. And it really is. Because what we're doing in law school, what our professors are doing, are training you to think like a lawyer. And that is not anything that you can learn anywhere else in the world. You have to go to law school. You have to go through the 3 or 4 years, get through the program to really understand what it is to, read a case, to digest it, to figure out one side versus the other side. And so really law school is a training mental boot camp. And so when you enter law school, you want to be completely fresh. You want nothing on your plate. You want nothing on your mind. You don't want to be drained in any sort of way. And so if you can manage to not do anything this summer, but things that you truly enjoy, if that's reading a book, if that's going shopping, if that's just literally lying on the couch and watching Netflix, binge watching Stranger Things or something of the sort, then that's what you should do. Because you really, like I said, you want to be completely invested in law school, and it takes a lot out of you going through law school, because you have to really commit to it in order to be successful. So if you ask me that question, my response has been and will always be, try to do nothing except for the things that you truly enjoy. And the second question, the second most asked question that I get from our admitted students is, what does law school look like? And so I'll give you a very, very brief overview. I'll go into way more detail during orientation, which is the second-ish week of August. So I'll see all of you again then. But just a very brief overview of law school. Your first year, we love you so much that we pick all of your classes for you. And so you come in, first year curriculum is already set. You'll have about, if you're a full-time student, you'll have about 15 hours in the fall, 16 hours in the spring. If you're a part-time student, then you'll start with 10 in the fall, 11 in the spring, 6 over the summer, and then you'll take one additional course during that subsequent fall semester, one additional first year course. And that's pretty much your first year. You're just kind of learning the ropes, trying to figure out what law school is, how to do things. And so you're very much limited in like extracurricular activities and things like that. You can certainly join organizations. We actually encourage you to do that to help build your network and just your kind of social connection with other students, which is very important during law school. But that's pretty much all you're doing. You're not working, hopefully, unless you're a part-time student, but you're just really focused on law school. And then your second year, you tackle on a whole bunch of other things. You start, joining organizations like as presidents, you join journals, you do moot court mock trial competitions, you work a whole slew of other things because you've kind of gotten law school underneath your belt. And you're adding on additional things that can fill your resume and help you be more marketable to employers and just to help you become a better professional and lawyer. So your second year is a lot of fun, still very stressful because you have a lot on your plate at that time, but it's a fun time during your second year. Your third year is kind of like your last year of college, if you can recall that, just kind of like okay, what do I need to do to get out of here? It's been fun, but I'm ready to go on and do great things. So your third year, you're not as involved because you're not, maybe you're still in a journal, maybe you're still in an organization, but those leadership roles are usually left for the second year. The third year, you're just kind of, for lack of a better phrase, kind of coasting. You're finishing up your required classes and things like that. A lot of students work during that time, and it leads into a final offer of employment from their employer. That's what we hope for a lot of our students. And so third year, it's also a good time, but just it's good in a different way, in the sense that you're not like super busy, but you're also you're enjoying the kind of the last good times that you'll have during law school. And so just going back to your first year, I do want to mention that you all will be put into sections. So it'll be about 60 or so students per set for a full-time section. So there's a section A, section B, section C, and then there's a section E for our part-time students. So there's about 60 students per full-time section and about 30 in our evening section. And you'll stay with your section their entire first year. So you'll take all of your first year courses with your section. So if you're in section A, towards crim law, stat reg, all of your first year courses are with that group of students. So you'll become very close knit with that group of students. And it's on purpose. We want you to get that social environment that I was referencing earlier, because it's important. You need to connect with others, because they're not only your peers in law school, but they will be your peers when you graduate from law school, because the legal field is very, very small, and you want to make sure that you have a good group of people that that you can connect with, because they'll be your judges, they'll be your your adversary, or they'll be your client even sometimes. And so we put our students in those sections to help them grow, to help them connect. And then your second and third year, you'll branch out and take other courses. So that's a very, very general synopsis of what law school looks like. And then we will, like I said, we'll go into way more detail during orientation. So that's my spiel. I do see that we have a question in the chat, so I'll go ahead and address that question, but feel free after I respond to raise your hand or put a question in the chat, and I'll respond accordingly. So the question that I received in the chat states, are sections randomized, or are certain people in certain sections depending on a certain factor? So they are random, but we do try to limit the randomization, or kind of control the randomization, in the sense that we don't want all of the students who scored a 171 on their LSAT to be in the same section, or all of the students who have a 3.9 GPA in undergrad to be in the same section. We want them a bit balanced, and we want them to be diverse, in the sense that we want a bit of women, we want men, we want Black students, Asian students, but we want everyone to feel connected. We want everyone to be represented in each of the sections, but they are random, in the sense that we don't hand pick every student that's in every section. Great question. The next question that I received is, does the law school have its own designated parking lot / garage? And Associate Director Amber Sanderson answered yes, so we do. And the parking garage, the east parking garage, which is kind of like adjacent, maybe not completely adjacent, kind of cat corner to the new building, the Law Center, is where we recommend all of our students park. So during orientation, parking in that garage is a bit more expensive than the outer parking lots. So our part-time and our transfer students will have the ability to park in that garage during orientation, but our full-time students will not, because it was really, really, really expensive to accommodate 200 plus students for 2 days. And so the parking lots that we designated during orientation will be right next to the parking garage that we recommend students utilize while they're in law school. But you have many options, and our parking administration is they have different maps and things like that, and you'll see where the law center is and the different parking garages that are best suited for our law students. Another great question. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Don't all jump at once. Another question in the chat: when will we receive our schedules? Another great question. So they are actually posted. The 1L schedules are actually posted on our website, but your section assignments is what you will need in order to figure out what your particular classes are. And that information is sent out mid to late July, along with some other orientation information and course information. So you can go online and look. If you look under students and look under course schedules, you can filter out for first year schedules, and you can see section A, section B, section C, section E. But your particular section assignment, as I mentioned, will that information will go out maybe within the next 3 or 4 weeks. Another question in the chat says, also, when will the reading list for our 1L classes be released? So all that information is listed on our course schedule. You'll see the syllabi or the syllabus associated with each class, or each course rather, but you won't know your section assignment for a few weeks. And so I know you're like super eager to get started and to read, but if you refer back to my response to one of my frequently asked questions, what should I do during this time? Please do nothing. So, you will have plenty of time to read for your the first day of classes and to read for your courses, but really just try to take this time to relax and get as much steam, so when you start, you'll steamroll ahead. That's what we want for you. Any other questions?
Alrighty, I got a quiet group here today. Dean Mills is doing a great job in terms of anticipating what your questions may be. It may be because this group knows everything already and they're just raring to go. But we do still have about 13 minutes or so left on this session if you have questions for her. If you don't, I will note that this is the last webinar in our series of Wednesday webinars, if you will. And then other information in terms of updates and things like that, you can be located on our website. I do see a question in the chat, but I saw Aaron's hand first. So we're going to go with Aaron. You can come off mute and ask your question.
Hi, thank you. And yes, that's been already a great overview of information. So a lot of my questions did get answered in your first spiel. But I think what I was, and I think student services will do a great job of this, but when seeking out mentorship and advisement on how we should be utilizing our time when we're kind of getting to go rogue our second and third year, does the law school provide, like in a sense, a student counselor, a student advisor, some kind of mentorship that can kind of help guide us when we know the path we want to go down?
Very great question. So yes, we do. We have both a director of student advisement and a director of academic success, who will thankfully be starting next week. Super excited about her. So the spring of your 1L year, so spring 2023, we will have myself, the director of student advisement, and the director of academic success will go to each 1L section and advise you. Basically, we'll serve you lunch and we'll sit and we'll talk about how to pick your classes, what to pick, and all that good stuff. And then they'll open up their schedules to meet with any student who wants to meet with them individually, one-on-one, to go over their course schedule, to go over their career goals and things like that, so that we can kind of help you pick classes and figure out what makes the most sense for your particular career path, or more so like what you think you want to do. Because I say career path, but things change all the time. People think they want to practice employment law and they're like, I hate employment law. And so we're here to kind of help you figure out like how to sort of think about approaching classes and the bar exam and all that good stuff. And so yes, you have that. And if you have concerns, like you're like, I wish I would have done better in this class. How do I approach taking a law school exam? How do I approach outlining? Our director of academic success is here. We also have 2 professors, kind of our bar prep experts, who help our students figure out how to outline and prepare and take an exam, because those skills translate directly into passing the bar exam. And so we have those 2 resources. In addition, we have our legal writing fellows, which is kind of funneled through our legal writing center. One of the classes that you'll have to take as a first-year student is lawyering skills and strategies. You'll actually have that in the fall and in the spring. And those professors oversee a group of upper-level students who are geared or kind of put in place to help our students figure out how to write, because writing for law school exams, legal writing basically is very different from anything that you've done before. And so that's what they're there to do, to help you organize and things like that. So to answer your question, Aaron, yes, we will help you. We won't just throw you to the wolves. We are here to coach you. And if ever you have a question, again, Student Services is the hub. You come to us and we'll figure out how to help you. Great question.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course. And before I go to you, Shana, let me answer the question in the chat. Answered the new building question. When are on-campus interviews hosted? Another great question. So that's our career office. And they host maybe 2 or 3 sessions of on-campus interviews, in addition to hosting a few other like forums, like a nonprofit government organization forum and things like that. And so they're scattered all throughout the year. And so the biggest one that we have for our first year students, I think, is in January, after your fall grades are posted. And then you'll have a few others that are scattered throughout, but you all can't really speak to your career counselor until sometime in October or something like that, just to make sure that you're focused on your grades. Another great question. So Shana, I think we can go to your question.
One second, Shana, hold up. Dean Mensa, and I did respond in the chat. This weekly Wednesday webinar series, we covered a multitude of topics and had experts such as yourself. And our director of career services actually hosted one of these as well. And so I made reference to the recording, which is now located on the website on the admitted student page. So you might want to check that out for more detail. All right, Shana.
Hi. Yes, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. The question that I had was, I know that there's information on the Law Center webpage or website, but normally how does one get involved in like the clinics or like the mediation program, and of course moot court and mock trial?
Great question. So one, we'll have all of the different programs, the clinics, the Blakely Advocacy Institute, which houses our moot court mock trial. All of the directors will be at orientation to speak to you, and their first thing will say, focus on your first year, focus on your grades, don't worry about it, you'll have time to do it. So that's my first response. My second response is to answer your question more directly. So with clinics, you will have to reach, I think, at least 30-ish hours, 30 or 45 hours, depending on the clinic, before you're allowed to do it. So you'll apply to the clinic, they have an outline on their website of what each clinic kind of oversees. You'll apply, you'll be accepted, and then you'll work hands-on with clients and the professor overseeing that particular clinic. For mock trial and moot court, you usually try out for those teams during the spring semester of your first year. You do have opportunities as a first year to do different mock trial and moot court competitions. They're kind of like a 1L novice or Blakely or something like that competition. I forgot the particular name of it. But you'll have opportunities to be introduced to those opportunities. But as I mentioned, my first point is to try to focus on doing well, because that matters. Because if you don't do well, then attacking on all these additional things such as clinics and competitions, it really won't make sense if your grades aren't where they need to be. So there are opportunities. We'll give you more information during orientation. And then again, always, if you're just like, I don't think that answered all of my questions, I'm here, let me know. And if I can't get you the answer, I can certainly direct you to someone in the clinics or in our Blakely Advocacy office to answer your super direct questions about any of those opportunities.
Perfect, thank you.
Not a problem.
Anyone else with a question? I'm going to drop in the chat, I'm locating it now, refer you again to the webinar series that we've already had, and we've covered everything from the clinics that was just asked, career services, networking, alumni actually had opportunity to speak. So if you didn't attend those, they'll stay up probably until maybe the first day of classes. I would definitely encourage you to go ahead and do that. So I will put the link to that in the chat. It's also, you can just find on our website, but just for ease. And at this point, I'm going to inquire as to any last question from anybody. Madison, go right ahead, please.
Hi, sorry, I just wanted to verify what I heard. Did you guys say that the East Garage was the best, like when I'm considering purchasing a garage pass, or is the Elgin Street Garage better?
I think it's the same. So
same?
it's off of Elgin. I think I think it's called the East Garage, but it's off of Elgin. So
Yes.
that Elgin Garage is the one that you want.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think you're right, Demon. So yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, it looks like we're getting close to our ending time, and I don't see any other hands, real or virtual. Please join me in thanking Dean Mensa for coming and sharing with us today. And if you've learned nothing else from her today, relax for the rest of the summer. Don't have any more questions, just relax. You'll never have as much free time as you're going to have this summer, ever, ever, ever again, until you retire. So,
That's the truth.
so with that being said, thank you so much, Dean Mensa. Thanks everybody for joining us. We're looking forward to seeing you on campus in the new building in the fall. Thanks.
Take care, everyone.